This section 3-3 is on writing functions. In order to write a function, you need to see what's happening from the x to the y. If you look at our x values in example 1, we're going from 1 to 5, and then 2 to 10, 3 to 15, 4 to 20. What the pattern is that it's being multiplied by 5. The x value is being multiplied by 5, so we can write that as 5x, 5 times x. And it is an equation, and every equation has an equal sign, so we're going to need equals. And then you will need a y. Y equals 5x is a linear equation. Now, y's can also be replaced with f of x, which is function of x. They mean the same thing. So you may see either one of these as your answer. In example 2, the first thing you might look at is for any multiplication that might be happening, like 1 times -2 gets you -2, but 2 times -2 would get you -4. So multiplying isn't working. So that now you have to think of like addition, subtraction, division that might work. And sometimes it's confusing with the negative, so it may be more obvious if you start in the positive. So to get from 4 to 1, you're subtracting 3. 3 to 0, subtracting 3. And you'll see that that pattern continues. So you're taking the x value and subtracting 3. That's where we got x minus 3 from. It's an equation, so I need equals, and I have my y. But remember, this could also be written as f of x equals x minus 3. When determining independent and dependent variables, the best thing to do is get the scenario into a reworded statement about whatever it was talking about, depending on whatever else it was talking about. Because then you'll know that the first thing is the dependent. The dependent depends on the independent. So if you can kind of fill in these blanks, you'll be able to figure out which one's the dependent variable and which one's the independent variable. So this statement right here that I'm drawing my arrow around is really important, and you should add this to your notes. So I pulled out one example for you, but here we're calculating f of x. So it said to find, let me get my pointer, find, for f of x equals 5x, find f of x when x equals 6 and when x equals 7.5. So I rewrote that here, and what I did is I just plugged in my x equals 6. So f of x equals 5 times x. And then the only thing you have to calculate is what's on the right-hand side. The f of x is just what you're finding. You're finding the function of x, or you're inputting this 6, the function of 6. You're inputting 6, so we're doing that. And when we do that, 5 times 6 is 30. That's our answer. Here, we're inputting 7.5. F of x is x is 7.5, so we plug that in. 5 times 7.5 is what we calculate, and we get 37.5. So it's like two problems in one. So for example B, g of t equals 2.30t plus 10. Find g of t when t is 2. So they started by replacing the t's with 2, and then calculating what's on the right-hand side. 2.30 times 2 is 4.6 plus 10. Calculate that, you get 14.6. Your calculator will do all that for you. And then here, you're plugging in and when t is -5. So we also have to do it with -5, and we get our number. And it's the same thing here, even with a fraction, you can do this. But again, your calculator will help you with the fractions. I know word problems can be really tricky for people, but your key word when writing an equation for word problems is the word per. Whenever you have per ticket, that's usually going to, or each ticket or something like that, per, each, something along those lines, that usually tells me that I'm going to need a variable there. So I'm going to put an x over that. So I already have 2.50x. I know that's going to be the case. Now I'm going to read the problem. Manuel has already sold $20 worth of tickets to the school play. He has 4 tickets left to sell at $2.50 per ticket. So he's already sold $20 worth, and he's got $2.50 per ticket still. He's already sold 20, so plus the 20 he's already sold is going to be equal to y. Okay, the total cost. Write a function to describe how much money Manuel can collect from selling tickets. Now, a function, remember, can also be equal to f of x. So it could be either one. So if I rewrite this in the correct form, usually we write y equals first, like y equals mx plus b, which we're going to learn next chapter. So if I could write y equals 2.50x plus 20, or I could write f of x equals 2.50x plus 20. These are the same exact thing. So now I have my equation, and it's asking if he has 4 tickets left to sell. You could figure out how much money he could possibly make in the end. So he's already sold $20 worth. If he only sells 1 ticket, we can figure out what he would make. There's my arrow. There it is. Okay. So if he sold just one ticket, he could make, oh, I didn't do 0 tickets. If he sold 0 tickets, he would only make $20, what he's already made so far, the $20. If he sells 1 ticket, it would be $2.50 plus the $20, that's $22.50. If he sold 2 tickets, we plug 2 in for X, $2.50 times 2 is $5, plus 20 is $25. And this pattern would continue, so we could see how much money he could possibly make would be our domain would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and how much money he could make would be your range values. So 20, 22.5, 25, 27.5, 30. Just like when I say to you, list the domain and range, the domain are the X values, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and your range would be these Y values of what we calculated. So the biggest thing that you can take from this is that per is going to be where you're going to put your variable when you write equations.